When we return to our planet, the High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies, we like movies. Septum Sin versus the world. 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 I'd buy that for $1.
Well, greetings there, boys and girls, and entertainment fans, as we are back from the primeval ooze that had thrown us aside during the Halloween season.
Indeed.
Of course, this is the Vlogcast, so enjoy, kick back, and listen to our lovely, lovely voices.
Yeah,
So-
see, you can hear Foo even.
So this is Septum Sen here with Kotobuki Jake.
Hi.
And again, we are back with the Vlogcast. So I've got a new set of order so that we can get a lot more in than just us talking
Order.
about the movies we've watched. We got a lot to fit into an hour, so we're going to be moving soon. So I'm going to start with the first section of the YouTube update, where we talk about the channel.
Okay.
So, it's channel status thus far, of course, this is November, so we did a Criterion Collection video. So, if you haven't seen it, you should check it out. It'll be a fun thing.
Good times.
Now, also, we have a NIS thing coming. Which originally we had tasked ourselves to just try and watch all of the NIS catalog and do a tribute, but we're going to go ahead and get to it. I've watched all of the catalog. Jake is catching up, so we've decided to do this in a more interesting way. We're hoping to go over all the ones that we've both seen and then rate each one based on sort of almost an anime news network scale. And then Jake, as he watches each series or movie from it, will do a separate video. We're going to have that in a playlist. And then at the end, we'll come back together for a short video to compare all of our scores to see if NIS, this is anime. My theory is that NIS, one of the issues was it had a lot of okay and mid-range, sometimes low-range anime that got it. They didn't have enough big titles to float it. But that can be more proven when we go through it one by one and we check it out at the end. See where it weighs out. But that's all I've got.
There's a lot of floating and a lull in the sea.
Yeah, it's true. A lot of that. So what do you have for us coming for the channel in November?
What do I have?
Anything that you're planning on doing? I know you do occasional reviews and things. Anything you're working on for the channel?
Well, I'm not sure I have any reviews upcoming. I've still got some stuff that needs editing. You know, that's how it always goes. But, yeah.
Well, I guess then we're going to move on to the collection update. This is the section where we talk about our collections and if there's any major changes, any moving around, anything fun that our collections have. This section may be blank in a lot of areas. For me, I'm getting a lot of blanks in because I'm trying to take the Marie Kondo approach to my collection, which is I'm trying to drop a lot of the stuff that I feel is not necessarily stuff I want to watch again or will watch again. It's a hard thing because I'm sitting there. You know, TV is a little bit easier to do because I can go through TV pretty quickly. But when I get to the movies, that's a lot of individual things to say, okay, let me think about this movie. All right, I got 7,000 more. No, but similar to that, I've got lots of them. We got hundreds, probably thousands more to check out. So it's really hard to do it one at a time. I mean, have you ever thinned out your collection?
No, drop something here and there. My biggest thinning out is basically I'm ending up. I actually have a copy in my bag here of Magnificent Seven. I need to compare it and contrast. I am ending up with a lot of duplicates of late, and so my main thinning out has been trying to get rid of the duplicates, and yeah, that certainly helps a little bit.
Magnificent Seven. Did that one ever get a Criterion?
I don't believe it has yet.
One for the list.
Yes, it would be. It's one of those what the heck.
Matter of fact, that would be good to have like the just the entire thing, just like right there with the original film that inspired it, like that one and the Seven Samurai in one set, and then maybe For a Fistful of Dollars and Yojimbo, things like that. That'd be kind of cool to see in like a double set.
Yeah. Well, it could be like if you watched our Criterion video, I suggested a double set for Sideways. Maybe that could be something Criterion could do as a series.
Criterion is like one of the few that could get away with something like that.
Yeah.
Because they don't have to beholden to one studio.
Mm-hmm.
And that might be, like I said, that might be one of the few times that would work. Because the studio couldn't do it, but maybe they could.
Maybe.
Alright, so our next section is just for you. It's called Kotobuki Jake's Ongoing Viewing. It's something I went ahead and I dropped, but I knew it was important for you. So, things that you're continuing to watch, nothing that you've just started, just the things that you're just kind of moving through at the moment.
Well, I suppose at the moment the ongoing viewing would be Columbo. I'm on season 2. Kimi ni Todoke, I finally came back to it. And technically just wrapped up season 4 of Arrow and season 2 of Flash, but I'm still ongoing with the series overall. So that's, as far as the ongoing viewing, I think that's everything. As far as ongoing reading, I recently picked up the 3rd volume of a really incredible series from Image Comics. This really cool series called Monstrous.
Oh.
I don't know if I've talked about that on here before or not, but Monstrous is dark by the standards of American comics, but it's a high fantasy series. It should probably appeal to you.
Image stylized itself off of dark. I mean,
Yeah.
one of the first really dark comics I got into was an Image comic called Shadowhawk, because it was a vigilante that broke criminals' backs in order to basically say, okay, now you're never going to terrorize people again.
Basically, Monstrous, this woman, Micah Halfwolf, she lives in a world where people are kind of associated with animal clans, and that's why I call her Half-Wolf. She's of the Wolf clan. She travels with a boy who's in the Fox clan, and also with a cat. And cats in this world, you know that game we did where I played a cat person? What was the race called?
Grimalkin?
Grimalkin. They're very similar. Most races hate them, they don't trust them, but cats are the record keepers, if you will. And they actually have a very intriguing story device where Professor Tam is giving his lectures on world history, and it's a very creative exposition dump. But it's a very fascinating series, and I would check it out. It's good stuff.
So let's go to release news. I know you like to look up release news and bring it up here when we do the news, so I figured we'll make this entire section about release news.
I haven't been as up on it as I'd like, but...
Well, you're prepared. So next week you'll be... If you start to see stuff, you can just start writing it down. Just like if I see something cool, I'll write it down, and we can come together and talk about it next
Well, I
time.
know they've announced Sentai announced a release of the Space Brothers movie, so that could be good. Yet another thing to get for that franchise. And Oh, what else was there? That's probably the big one for right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now onto the entertainment news.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to just do the entertainment news as something quick. We each bring 2 stories to the fold. That's 4 stories, so that should keep us up pretty well. I have 2, and then I will probably, since they're both interconnected, I'll just go ahead and talk about both of them.
Go for it.
And then you give me your 1 or 2 or whatever you got there. So I got Woody Allen news. So we've had another potential casualty of the people who defend. The last person to defend him was Scarlett Johansson, but she kind of was given a pass. This time Jeff Goldblum is defending him, saying, I would consider working with him again. You know, we should give him, reasonable doubt. The idea basically that, you know, if something comes up that shows that he did something, I would definitely change my mind. But, you know, he should get like the, what was that? Innocent before proven guilty, basically. Yeah. Well, this did not sit well. And several places have kind of slashed his appearances. Jeff Goldblum's, not Woody Allen's. He had a show coming up on Disney Plus, but there is a huge petition now to strike it because now people are saying, well, he supports child rape and all of this. It's kind of the word is cancel culture, I believe.
Yeah.
So I thought to myself, well, it's interesting how it goes, but I mean, what can you do? All I can say is I hope people be careful about judging before you've got everything in.
Yeah.
It's just kind of sad to see that that's happened to Jeff Goldblum. He seems to be a decent guy. I haven't heard anything bad about him.
Yeah.
Many people are now saying, well, he's just heading it off. He's going to be the next one with a lot of victims. But
of course they're saying that.
A lot of negativity out there.
But apparently it wasn't limited to them. You heard what happened with Roman Polanski, right?
Well, Roman Polanski did do some terrible things.
Right. Well, you heard the most recent one?
What happened with him?
He's been accused by another person of straight-up rape.
Well,
yeah.
You see, now there's a difference between the two. He's actually been proven to have done something.
Right.
And
I'll admit, I always kind of soft-pedaled that a little bit because, you know, but actual rape. I have trouble with that. And if there's any evidence here...
I mean, the one that he did, she did not want that. She felt influenced by him.
True.
And she was 14.
True.
So...
I think this one was like 18 at the time, something like that.
Like I say, I have very little forgiveness for Roman Polanski. And if there is proof that comes out that Woody Allen did do what he did, or what they say he did, then... No, I will sell all of the stuff I've got and get rid of it because I don't put up with that. That's not right. But at the same time, it's just, I don't know. It's something, though, to just jump at the opinion.
Yeah.
Court of public opinion's a cruel one. But speaking of, the Amazon lawsuit that Allen did has reached a settlement case.
Oh.
A $68 million settlement case. And other terms that have not been revealed yet, but it looks like Allen is the one coming out on top. Amazon had cited that it didn't know about these particular things before signing them, but then cited stuff that had been in wide reference, and even showed that they did know about it many years ago. It's just that nobody cared about it many years ago. So, Amazon kind of screwed up on that one. So they had to settle with him, as they know that they were screwed. So it's interesting. Maybe we will get to see Rainy Day in New York, which would be interesting.
Yep.
It has gotten European release, so I'm hoping we'll get at least a limited release here in the States. He's working on his new film. Again, for better or for worse.
For better or for worse, you cannot deny the dude's work ethic.
Oh, he's got one heck of a work ethic. He only took a year off because of this.
Right.
I mean, that's a pretty amazing thing. That it's like, okay, well, we'll just take a year off, but then I'm back to filming something else.
Right.
So I can't deny he's pretty good at his shotgun approach. Now you got some stories
Yeah, I've got a couple things. And the first one, while we're fresh, while the scent of bullshit is fresh in the air, you hear this stupid ass stuff about James Dean is going to star in a new movie?
Oh yeah, via CG.
Yes. This is all kinds of wrong. I don't even know where to begin. James Dean, who died, in 54, 55? His family has signed off on them using his likeness to piece together a posthumous performance by James Dean, probably voiced up by someone else.
Because it works so well in the Last Jedi.
Now in Last Jedi they were trying to recreate an already established role.
Yeah.
In some films, I could see if an actor dies in the middle of a film, or if he dies like they've done most of the work, but there's like a pivotal scene that still remains, or something like that. If you have the ability to piece together a performance out of work that they've given you, or people who are involved with the production, that's one thing. It's still a little skeevy, but it's one thing. But to come out of nowhere, half a century after someone has died, to bring up a brand new project they had no connection with, and try to use their... what the hell? I don't know. I don't even know. This is so wrong on so many levels.
Technology these days.
Oh man, I don't know. And I can't believe his family signed off on it. I mean, they must really be hurting for money or something. Oh man, that was...
Actors are acting long after their deaths. Who knows? Maybe we'll see Orson Welles in a new commercial for fish
I'm
sticks.
sure...
For those of you who don't get that reference, they had a reference of him on The Critic.
Yes.
And the ghost of Orson Welles.
Yes, I could sadly see that. Oh, so bad. Okay.
Oh boy.
Oh.
There, is that
Okay,
all?
my other major one is actually a two-part one. There was a lot of Oscar news in the last week or so. One was they kind of stuck their foot in it, and that was where they were apparently very quiet about this. I'm almost sure they changed the language this year, but I'm not certain. Mm-hmm. Best Foreign Language Feature is now known as Best International Feature or something along those lines. But they have rules in their bylaws that the Best Foreign Language Feature must be over half spoken in a non-English language.
What about the UK?
The UK,
Australia.
Australia, Ireland, and Canada have all submitted foreign language features that easily fit that category. The debate came this week when Nigeria submitted its first ever submission for Oscar.
Oh, cool.
I think it's considered the first homegrown feature film they've done.
Oh, wow.
And they are ineligible because it's about 15% in the native language. Apparently, Nigeria mostly speaks English.
This is why this is not such a good rule.
No. Now, I've said before, this category is freaking broken and needs to be totally redone for many reasons, but this just gave me yet another reason.
You know, I could almost see it to where you could do a couple of categories. One, I think that the category itself is a necessity because some of the films that are on it would never get enough release to be considered if you just stuck them all in the main categories.
Well, you need to either do Best Foreign Language Feature and open the field to all foreign language features, including American films like The Passion of the Christ and Maria Full of Grace and films like that. Or strictly do Best International Feature and open it to all international features, or have one category for each.
Oh, yeah.
But don't try to halfway either one of them. And the other rules are still stupid. The window of September to October is the only category that has a different window. It's the only category that does not require viewing in the U.S. There's so many exceptions. Yeah. It's stupid. They need to just simplify. Put it on the same... And then the whole idea of countries submitting, I still say it should be up to the individuals. But related news, and this is the good news out of this week, we already knew that there were 4 anime features submitted this year for 4 animated feature. 4 anime. Promare, Weathering with You, The Children of the Sea or something, I can't remember what it's called, and then there's another one. Weathering with You, the new film by Makoto Shinkai, is the official Japanese submission for Best International Feature. It's the first time since Princess Mononoke they have submitted an anime as their official submission. I think that's awesome.
It wouldn't be a bad idea to have an international animated feature. As much as I'd hate to pigeonhole it, at the same time, Disney and all of these places, they overshadow. I was looking at this, like, there was an article I was reading about. I was like, so these are the films that won, and these are the anime and other international films that should have won, or should have at least been nominated, and A Silent Voice was on that list. Yeah. And your name was on that list.
Oh, yeah.
And these are films that if you had an international animated feature, they wouldn't get snubbed as much.
They wouldn't, but no one would pay any attention to that category.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they need... It all comes down to the Academy is full of people who have that stupid backwards view toward animation, that it's all for kids. And they generally tend to submit the ones their kids watch. They don't. They just need to change the rules so that the nomination process is entirely in the hands of people who actually care.
The other problem is that the Academy is largely, is for the most part, an American Academy.
They are reaching out a lot more to international.
And if the Oscars were to become a truly international set of awards, then you wouldn't have to do that, because everybody that represents would be not just from our country, but from all the countries submitting films, so they would all be a part of the Academy. Right. So you wouldn't have the prejudice of, well, it has to be Disney. Disney always has to win. Pixar always has to win. We always have to we always have to have representation from all the big American animation conglomerates.
Well, again, I don't think they do that at all. I think the only reason that happens is because they just don't pay attention. Now, and then one last little blurb about the animated features. Last year we did have a pretty kick-ass winner. The Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
That was a surprise.
And of course, there's a sequel. Did you hear the news with that?
2022, isn't it?
No, the what they announced about who might be in it.
Oh yeah, they're going to try and get all of the Spider-Man.
They're going to try to actually show the 1970s live-action Toei version of Spider-Man as part of the Spider-Verse. I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Which they should.
Yes.
Stan Lee himself loved the show.
Yeah, so anyway, that's all I got on news. Yeah.
So the next section is deaths. I know that you really were kind of saddened by the fact that we had to get rid of the deaths section. We used to have one, and it was a long section. We covered a lot of deaths of people, many of which were not even known by many, but I thought, well, this is the opportunity, because I know you follow that pretty closely. Were there any significant deaths that
I don't know.
You wanted to... Okay. Well...
We scrapped it, so I wasn't paying attention. I mean, I know there have been a couple high-profile ones recently, but...
Somebody was spreading a fake article that Betty White had died at age 93, which is automatically a tell because she's 97. I was like, So she's been a zombie for the last, 5 years.
I wouldn't put it past her.
But, other than that, I haven't heard a lot of significant death news that's, caught me lately. But this is more of just a section, and this is something that I came up with over the past week and wasn't able to share until recently. So we're going to have more stuff to fill up probably by the next Vlogcast or so, because I know how it is. You'll then probably start noting some of these things.
Oh, probably.
Again. When we used to do it, I used to go through every death.
Yeah.
It's like, this person was a bit actor in one movie in 1945. They died.
Yeah, they did. No. Okay.
So, we'll move on to our next section, which is First Impressions.
Okay.
Well, First Impressions is a nice section of stuff that we have started doing, and just our general first impressions of a series. Probably not a movie. There are some cases where I've started a movie and haven't finished it yet, but usually I finish the movie by the time I get to this show. So there are a few that I have on my list, one of which I can't talk about just yet because it's a surprise. But there are a few of them on mine. I know you probably had a couple that you've started. I don't know how many of them haven't already gone to finished yet, but I know I have a few.
Go for it.
I started three video games. Really, that's all I've got for started. Man of Medan, which is the new horror anthology video game series that's been by the people who released Until Dawn. I know you played a little bit of Until Dawn with us.
A little bit.
So you got the idea. It's this kind of choose your own adventure story where you have these people, and this one is pretty much a ghost ship. We've played the first part where they are going through, where you get to see the ghosts basically kill everybody on board the original ship. And it does have some cool jump scares and some interesting interactivity that goes above and beyond Until Dawn. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping to get some good playtime out of it.
Cool.
I wanted to get some more Halloween playtime, but the cards were just not in it. Another one, Dragon Quest III. I started that out, and I'm still slowly working my way through this particular one. It's on my phone. I really don't like playing games on my phone, but I beat the first two on my phone, so I can get through this. This one's a good game. It's just my attention span on the phone for playing games is very low. So we'll see if I can just get through this one. Then the rest of them are on the DS, except for the latest one, which is on my PlayStation 4. So that'll be fun. And then finally, I started, in my opinion, one of the best ones out of this group, The Outer Worlds. For those of you who really like the old school Fallout series, the old isometric ones, and Fallout New Vegas, Obsidian Studios released this kind of sci-fi... what do they call them? The ones where the corporations take over everything. You know what I'm talking about? That type of world view? Well, this is like extraplanetary travel, and basically the corporations own all of the outer worlds, so to speak. It's a really fun action-adventure game, first person, and it's not overly complicated. It's got a lot of fun humor. It's got a lot of fun events, a lot of cool things to explore, and I'm just really enjoying it. It's just real fun.
Cool.
All right. Anything that you can think of that you've just kind of started getting into? It's been a long time.
It has been a long time. I'm not going to go into too much detail here, but I've actually been playtesting a game that's under construction, and that's been pretty fun.
Oh,
But I've been, as far as series, perhaps, manga and whatnot, that I've started... I'm pretty sure it's been since the last vlogcast that I started My Hero Academia Vigilantes, which is kind of a fun spin-off of the My
remember
Hero
you talking
Academia.
about it.
Okay, I couldn't remember if I had or not. I haven't really started that many new ones lately. I do know my library finally put in an order for the remainder of The Promised Neverland, so I'm really looking forward to finishing that one.
So much stuff
Yeah,
to
I
catch
know.
up to.
So much stuff. I want to finish the manga so I can actually watch the show. But I don't have a whole lot that I think has recently been underway.
Well, here's something
Okay.
that I know you've got something for. On our section, At the Movies. Da, 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 da.
Yes.
We've had a
It
couple of
stinks.
things. I've only seen 2 things, and technically they're at the movies, and technically, well, one of them definitely was. One of them was sort of.
Okay.
I'm not going to explain the sort of.
Okay.
But I'm going to just go over one. I know you've got the other one that we've shared together, which was, well, we start with that one, which is It Chapter 2. I think you saw it in the film officially, if I recall correctly. Am I right?
In the film officially?
Yeah, you were inside the camera watching it.
Oh, yes, because we all float down here.
I saw
Yes,
it by other
I
means.
did see it, yes, and it was quite good. And not as good as the first chapter, but it was...
Well, neither was the other, like the miniseries.
Yeah, because the thing is, it really is a story, even though it's interesting to see the kids as adults, and it's interesting to see what happens to them, the original book, even, I feel like the parts with the kids were... I felt like Stephen King... you can almost say like he seemed to care more about that part of the story. It's better written. The book had some subplots that went nowhere, that got basically dropped and went nowhere, that had to do with the adults, and they wisely excised those from the film.
Yeah.
But it still... It wasn't as exciting as it could have been. Some of the parts that were supposed to be scary got a little cheesy at times. You know, like when Bev goes to visit her apartment, and some of the stuff that woman was doing were just downright cheesy. But overall, the production values were pretty solid. And it was pretty entertaining. I
think they managed to come out at least even with the source material in many ways, that was good. I enjoyed it. I did not enjoy it as much as the first, but then again, that was the same thing with the miniseries. The stuff with the children was much, except for the sex scene, but they didn't put that in the movie.
No, they didn't.
Or the miniseries.
No, they didn't.
But but otherwise, this part with the children was far superior. And but still, Stephen King did a lot of good characterizing, and I think the movie did a pretty good job of having us really care about the characters.
And they did a really good job of casting the kids as adults. I mean, Bill Hader was great as Richie. He was perfect for the role, and Jessica Chastain was perfect as Bev. I mean, she didn't fit the physical description of the book, but she definitely fit the character very well. And she looked like the girl that played her in the other part. So, and I believe she was I think that girl requested her, if I remember correctly, that she was like, I want Jessica Chastain. But so that was kind of cool.
So me and my wife did finally get out to see the Downton Abbey movie, which was really good. I enjoyed it. I'm hoping, actually, this is one of those times where we may see Oscar Love finally come to Downton Abbey. I'm sure that the Dowager Countess will be up for at least one award. Whether she actually gets the award or not, that's debatable. But still, it's her chance at it, and I think she did an excellent job. It came across as an extended episode of the series, and for those of you who like the series, it really was what it is, and it was sort of a revival of sorts. So do I think there will be more Downton Abbey? Sure. What form? Who knows? But I do think that there's a renewed interest. It did pretty well. So I doubt this is going to be the last we see of this story.
Right. It was a good film. It was a spectacle. And I could never bring myself to get excited about going to the movies to see the TV show. But I felt like this one was meant to be seen on the big screen.
Beautiful.
And I do see the film cleaning up in the artistic and technical categories. I mean, it should, costume design and production design definitely should be in there. I think that...
Because Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark we got last time.
I'm pretty sure that's... I have not made it to the movies. I want to, but
I want to. I wanted to see Joker.
Oh, I want to.
I wanted to see a lot of them.
That was one thing I was going to look for. I still need to show you and the wife. I have the this thing where someone compared Downton Abbey to Joker, and it was hilarious. It was great. It was so much truth to it, and it was, but it was clearly someone who was not a huge fan of Downton, because they were saying some things that the true fans would find blasphemous.
So our next section is Inside Movies Galore, where we talk about films we watched for this particular and other projects that we've done for this channel or others. Just because we're probably not going to be as detailed in our thoughts on these because they've already been recorded.
Yes.
Or they will be.
Yes.
They will be.
Indeed.
So we had our... we wrapped up our ghostly month of September with Silent Hill, Phantasm, and 13 Ghosts, which 13 Ghosts got a ton of views.
Wow.
It's like over 1,000 views now.
Ooh.
So many people have seen this one, our discussion. What did you think of that month in general? Do you think those were good choices?
It was interesting. It was interesting.
It was cool to revisit some of these. I really love the Dark House remakes, and 13 Ghosts is definitely in that. And I'm a fan of Silent Hill. It's a guilty pleasure. But in Phantasm, well, yeah. But we did get to start our Halloween movies off with the wonderful Houseu, which... was great. That was the Japanese film, and it was kind of cool to see people just like, this is strange.
Oh, it is strange. It is so strange.
Was that the one that Mosley had started with us on?
No, I don't believe so. I believe he started...
Scream.
Scream, yes.
He was with Scream. We did have somebody that was new, Hard Devil...
Yeah.
Which I think he was there for some of them.
There are some who call him... Tim?
But he was there for, I think, 2, maybe 2.5.
Something like that.
And we haven't heard much since, but maybe he'll come back to us.
Right.
But we did House, Dawn of the Dead, the original.
Yep.
The Long Cut.
And we had a long discussion, but I think it was a good one.
And Scream. And I guess then 13 Ghosts was the start of our Halloween one.
Where no, that was, we skipped one.
What did we do?
There was one I skipped. There were 2 that I skipped.
Pieces.
Actually,
which, that's why I said on there. Pieces wasn't on
I
there.
skipped Pieces, and I was forced to skip The Craft. So that was 2 of them that we unfortunately.
Yeah, and I wasn't there for either of those.
And then
either.
for Scream, I made a point to watch all 4 of the movies, so that was kind of fun. Since I didn't really get to record my thoughts on the 4th one during the talk because I watched it later. I think that was my 3rd time seeing it, and it's good. I mean, it kind of each one focuses on a particular type of horror film, and that one focused on the idea of the reboot or the remake. And they did a pretty good job with it, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved Hayden Panettiere's character in that one. She was a lot of fun. Kirby, I think her name was. And some of the twists were predictable but fun, and overall it was a worthy addition. On our previous video, I said, how in the hell are you going to start Scream again? Part of the reason why is they've already covered reboots with Scream 4. So how are you going to do a reboot?
So then we had a really long discussion about Indiana Jones.
Yes.
We don't need to talk about that anymore because we went over 2 hours in
And
that
we
discussion.
covered all 4 movies.
I think
with
we've
that
managed
too.
to. I think we managed to do that one justice.
Yes.
And the upcoming one, which is not upcoming anymore if you were listening to this, which is Clerks, and Clerks the animated series, or at least pieces of, to talk about. And I've watched both of those, and I think you're getting ready to watch.
I will tonight, I guess. I'll be up all night, probably.
The good thing about the animated is you only really need one for that, and that's only 6 episodes if you really want to try and go through it.
Right.
The one of those on my set that looks like might have a skip on it.
See, I wanted to do all the bonus features, and I can't believe I did not make time to do that. Especially because there's 2 cuts of the film, and I kind of wanted to watch Clerks 2 to prepare for this, but whatever. I'll watch it this week, I guess.
So then we had our Horrorween.
Yes.
And again, you can watch those for our
What a
thoughts on
mixed
these.
bag it was.
So we started with Night of the Lepus, which is about like these giant rabbits that are attacking people, but a slight bit slow on the pacing. Then we saw Death Kappa, which kind of was a kaiju horror film. Let's talk about the Godzilla stuff that I didn't get.
It's only a model.
Then we covered the slasher kind of monster attack, which was Pinata Survival Island, where we had an evil pinata going off and attacking people.
So much quality, so little time.
Speaking of quality, we did do one that was somewhat quality-wise, because we did do an Edgar Allan Poe piece, which had, what is his name again? You know it.
Vincent Price?
Yes, Vincent Price in it, called Mask of the Red Death.
Right.
Also slow pacing, but definitely higher quality.
Right.
And then wrapped it up with an anthology film called 1031, which I think was appropriate because it aired on 1031.
Indeed.
And it wasn't bad. It had a couple fun features. So we've got about 20 minutes left of our podcast, and this is the section that we usually start with, but I figure we get a lot of things in, and now we can actually move to our mini reviews. These are the things that we have actually finished, and we do a small go-over and just a basic thing. Would we recommend it to others to watch?
Okay.
So why don't you start us out? We'll just do back and forth until War Time is out, because that's all we got left.
Well, I guess I'll go ahead and start off as a sort of a season wrap-up, if you will, for the 2 Arrowverse ones, Arrow and Flash. Basically, the gist of it is Flash Season 2 revolves around his learning of a second parallel world and facing off with Zoom, who's a very dark speedster character. And there's a lot of fun with doppelgangers, and I enjoy this. I like parallel worlds versions of people, and they got a lot, and they brought it right up to the final episode where they brought in the World 2 Black Siren, who obviously is a doppelganger for a certain character from Arrow. Very interesting and kind of unsettling to the people in there. But it was our first proper introduction to Killer Frost. Foreshadowing, anyone? And there was some other fun stuff to be had. But the season ends just like season 1 on a cliffhanger, big-time cliffhanger.
Oh, big time.
And it ends basically with you going, Barry, you are a dick. But the Arrow featured, his main protagonist was a guy played by Noah Emmerich called Damien Dark, who the seeds for Dark had been planted in the Ra's al Ghul storyline of season 3. Damien Dark is one of the most badass villains in any show ever.
Oh, yeah.
He's hilarious. He is dark, twisted, evil, sadistic, and a nice, charming, friendly guy. It's just, I liked him a lot and hated him at the same time. And that's a great villain. It really is.
And Oh yeah, I agree. Arrowverse is somewhat fun. I mean, I'm kind of purging a lot, but I'm not purging Arrow. And I did see the first 2 seasons of Flash, just like you did, and I enjoyed them myself. Definitely would recommend it. I would recommend the Arrowverse. I would recommend the Arrowverse to people who have a lot of time on their hands.
Yes, it does take some time.
Every one of these series has hour episodes. There are like, let's see, there's Arrow, Supergirl, League of something.
Legends of
Tomorrow, Flash. You've got Black Lightning. You've got you got 2 films. You've got Constantine.
And I think the 100 is supposed to be part of it,
the 100 is going to be part. So,
and then it's about to expand even further. They're setting up a spin-off they're setting up a spin-off for the Canaries. They're setting up a spin-off called they're setting up Lois and Superman is coming out, and there's going to be just so much there. But
so to me, I look at this as it's fun, but I was spending like $100 every Black Friday just to keep up, and that's just buying the DVDs. And then on
Black Friday?
Yeah, almost every year.
There are not that many shows.
But, it's a lot to keep up with. And so you're talking like every season, you're talking like many, they're almost all of them are now full seasons. Yeah. And that's a lot. So, I mean, again, if you have a lot of time, it's worth your time if you have a lot of time. If you don't have a lot of time, you might pick one, and I can tell you, at least from the Arrow and the Flash, I could watch what I've seen.
We've basically been watching. We've basically been watching them as, okay, do we want to do a movie tonight or TV? TV, okay. Well, we want to do Arrow or Flash, and it works pretty well for the most part. When you have limited time, it is nicer to have shorter episodes. But and I will also mention, as far as notable stuff from these seasons, there was this Arrow season did introduce Constantine into that series. I have not gotten to see Constantine yet, but it was nice to see they did the character justice. Yes. They did do him right.
Constantine is one of the series I'm definitely keeping. It is a one-off series, and it's really good.
Yeah.
And I'll go into that, matter of fact, since I've got that on my list.
Okay.
I watched Constantine all the way through. I thought I'd seen it all the way through, but I'd only seen the first episode. And it really is. It's a very dark series. I mean, it's about demons and devils and ghosties and stuff like that. It's almost got some creepy parts.
And he's a collector of arcane artifacts.
So it's a very good series. I would continue to collect that series, and I do plan on getting the animated film because it's the same character. And it's just I'm picking and choosing now which ones I'm going after. And Arrow, like I said, I've watched I've watched all but 2 seasons of the Arrow, and I've been able to do so without having to bring in everything else. And because I got a basic idea of the comics. Though Marvel, and I would recommend, if you like these kind of supernatural series, even if you don't want to get into the lighter tone of the Arrowverse, you don't have to.
Lighter?
This one, it is lighter comparatively.
Well, compared to the movies, yes.
Constantine is definitely a good standalone. It doesn't involve any of the other stuff. It's a good series overall. And Marvel, unfortunately, is deciding, we can do that, but we're going to pair them with our movies. I think they got like 3 different TV series coming out, and you have to know those 3 TV series in order to help follow the plots of the movies, is what they've been saying now. So, you're going to have a lot of watching to do. It's made me think to myself, do I really want to keep going with the Marvel stuff?
Yeah, but it's fun viewing.
Not all of it.
Well, mostly.
Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. is not fun viewing.
Mostly. Mostly fun viewing.
And the TV series have yet to be really tested yet. I mean, the Netflix ones have, and they are bringing those people into the fold. At least I know Daredevil and Punisher.
So they did confirm Daredevil?
I know that Daredevil is confirmed.
Okay, good.
Punisher has been rumored.
Okay.
So these are good things.
Because Charlie Cox is a good Daredevil.
So I think that it's going to be kind of cool to see them all kind of come into the fold, but it's just, it's a lot to keep up with.
Yeah.
And that's, I've gone over several things. You can go to your next.
Okay, so real quick, speaking of DC Comics, I'll go ahead and mention, because it's instrumental in the history of DC Comics. A few nights ago, I finally made time to watch an old silent film from back in the day, from 1928, I believe. The film The Man Who Laughs, Conrad Veidt film based on the Victor Hugo novel. And of course, Conrad Veidt's character was the visual basis inspiration for the character of the Joker. And he does look a lot like him. I was sitting there going, wow, this is...
But he's not, but he's definitely a different personality.
He's definitely a different personality. The basic gist of it, you have... So, the basic gist of it is you have this guy who refuses to swear loyalty to the king. But he comes back home to see his son, and the king's like, well, you know what? You've lost him. He has been sold to the jester pipes up. The jester's a creepy ass dude.
Oh God, yeah.
And he's like, well, we sold him to the gypsies, and they carved up his face, that sort of thing. And then, so basically, this little boy with this Glasgow grin is abandoned by the gypsies and finds a little girl in this whose mother has died, and he takes her with him and seeks warmth and shelter, and they find a traveling performer who brings them in out of the cold and raises them up, and eventually they start working for him. She is the blind beauty, and the guy, of course, is the man who laughs, the laughing man is what they call him. And they travel around basically doing a clown show pretty much until events cause a reckoning with the past and all that kind of stuff. And apparently, from what I understand, the movie had a much more up-tempo ending than the book did. I never have read the book, but I probably should one day. But it was interesting. It was a nice little bit of movie history and then pop culture history because of that. Yeah.
Well, I got to see two films that are fun. They are the Out and About movie 1 and 2. Starring Wet Movie 1. There is a very complex tale about these, and I will go into that in a future time. But essentially, both of these are done at different times, but they both involve trips to Vegas. One of them I made even a homemade DVD about, and there's going to be more to that story in a future pickup. Hopefully next week or the week after. Just like I have a really big pickup score that'll come either this week or after. And it is essentially of him and his friends going to Vegas, messing with things, just having fun in general. And it's got a really cool tone. The second one was better filmed as far as like the filming techniques. It was a lot clearer. There were a lot cooler visuals, but it was much shorter. And like I said, I liked the second film, but the first one I liked a little bit more because of the, I don't know, like I said, the first one felt more like a movie, whereas the second one felt like an extended like TV special, which was better done, but still, I like them both though very much, and both of these are on sale. You get them together, and these are not going to be here forever. They're going to go very quickly. So if you want a chance at seeing something kind of cool, you should go over to his page, just Wet Movie 1, or to his Facebook, which will be on his Wet Movie 1 site, and buy these because they won't be here forever. So you better jump on it while you still can.
Jump on it.
And I don't know, did you get to see any of them?
Not yet, no.
The one I saw, the first one, is the edited version. I will be getting a shot at seeing the unedited version soon, so we'll see if my opinion is still the same.
Alright. So, speaking of going on a road trip, one that I saw recently that I quite liked, that I wasn't really sure what to expect going in, but I quite liked it, is a film came out, I think, at the beginning of the year called Boundaries. And it stars Vera Farmiga and Kristen Schaal as the daughters of a very eccentric, cantankerous old man who's played by Christopher Plummer. And at the start of the film, Plummer gets kicked out of the nursing home he's living in because he doesn't, as they put it, he doesn't live up to their standards, which is, translation, he grows and deals pot from the grounds of the... And so one daughter contacts the other and says, I'm sending him to live with you. And the other, and Kristen Schall's the one that is contacted. Vera Farmiga's the one who contacts her. Schall's like, well, yeah, he can come out here, but you should come out with your son. I want to see you guys. And then she's like, no, I'm putting him on a plane. But then for various reasons, mainly he refuses to leave his car. They end up on a road trip. And along the way, they end up meeting with a bunch of random people. The boy's ne'er-do-well deadbeat father, who's played by Bobby Cannavale, an old friend of the father, who's of the grandfather character, who is played by Christopher Lloyd, and another old friend, more a client of his, who's played by Peter Fonda, and what I think was one of his last performances before he died. And it's a really interesting movie. It's a dark comedy. It's a road trip, kind of buddy film, but it definitely gets into some rather some kind of uncomfortable territory in terms of family dynamic and relationships and that sort of thing. But it's also got some great pithy one-liners, and there's like the one part where that was in the trailer where Christopher Plummer is looking at Bobby Cannavale, and he's like, I don't believe in sucker punching people, so I'm going to give you fair warning, and then punches them straight in the nose. Yeah. And then he's like, Cannavale's like, well, man, I thought you were a Buddhist. And Plummer's like, I am, but you bring out the right-wing Christian in me. It's like, I like that. But it was a good film, and I enjoyed it, and I would definitely recommend that one. It was
well, with time being short, I will end this on a short film.
Okay.
I was just flipping through Amazon Prime, and I came upon a short film before bed, and I couldn't resist watching this because of the name, called The Christmas Hot Dog. I mean, come on, you saw that in the lineup. You were just kind of looking for something to hit at the end. Wouldn't you just go for that? I mean, really? So the
Sounds
Christmas,
like a South Park episode.
It's like a 30 or 40 minute episode thing it takes place in New York, and they're kind of debating the idea of maybe we should try and move Christmas to January, because that way we have more time to enjoy the holiday spirit, and it's not such a big wreck.
And that's when it was supposed to be, if I remember correctly.
And so, and then there's this one woman who is like collecting for charity, and she is like, so the main guy, he gives her some money, and she pulls a hot dog out of her pocket and hands it to him, and he liked that so much that he kept trying to search for this woman who gave him the hot dog and helped him learn the spirit of the season, eventually giving him an epiphany about whether or not to support this move to January. It's fun. It's kind of whimsical. It's not great, but if you got a little bit of time to kill and you're on Amazon Prime and you're just looking for something weird, for the holiday season, definitely check this out.
Did you enjoy it as much as Grumpy Cat Christmas?
No, there is no topping Grumpy Cat Christmas. Well, that's it for what we've got so far. You guys have heard the format. We're probably going to have a little bit more content to fill each of these formats as we go. We just kind of get starting, but I want to try and hold to this one. Some of which may be kind of the same-ish. Like, I doubt we're going to have major overhauls or things to our collection every day or every week that we do this. But it'll be good. So,
Good times.
let us know how you like this format below, and otherwise, we will see you next week with another Vlogcast. As our week after, we'll be doing that NIS. So,
Oh boy.
let's have fun. And we'll see you on the next one.
Adios.
Goodbye.